I was like, is it staff? Like, no, you don't have staff in your eye.
All right. Mike telling us all of his histories. All right, man, nice and quiet, buddy. This is the last video. All right.
That's crazy.
Oh, I feel like beaten man.
Hey, we match.
Well, yeah, we do. So this is the last video of the Turtle series on using and defending from the seated turtle. So this is video number 23, I think, of turtle. And we thought this was going to be shorter than all the other series that we've done.
That's crazy.
We were wrong. This was twice as long as almost every other series.
That's crazy. This is the longest series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next series should be guard retention or using guard. So that should be by rights a big series before filming. So expect 50 videos maybe. No, I'm just joking.
Probably.
Who knows? If turtle end up being 23, I wouldn't be
surprised. Guard your specialty,
so that's even... it was 40 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to put as much info in all these videos as I can. So that's why they end up being so long. But it's something you can refer back to. I'd rather that than not give you all the information, and then when you watch the videos, you still wonder, well, what if, right? But anyway.
That's true. It does answer the what if questions.
Hopefully there's not very many what if questions left after you watch all the different videos. So, all right, so seated turtle. So seated turtle, we end up here anytime that, well, I shouldn't say anytime, but many times when we're in normal turtle and we're trying to make space between our hips. Or another time we could end up in seated turtle is we're trying to stop go behinds. Those are kind of like the two main ways that we end up in turtle, or in seated turtle. So if he's in top of normal turtle on me here, and I feel like I'm just not able to escape from the normal turtle position, one thing I might end up doing, right, is sitting out here to the seated turtle. Where now from here, I can try and escape and do different options from here. So that's one way we might end up here. The other way is maybe Mike is in front headlock territory and he starts to get behind me. And before he gets behind me, he's going to switch his hands. And when he switches his hands, I end up in this seated turtle where I seal him out, right? If Mike doesn't switch his hands when he circles behind me, he's not going to be able to control me, right? So those are kind of like the two main ways that we might end up in a seated turtle position. I guess there's another scenario that might happen as well, is like when you're playing like butterfly guard or some form of seated guard and they manage to circle behind you before you get your back to the mat, then you end up in a seated turtle position as well. So on that note, that's kind of like how we get there. Now the positioning. So when I'm in seated turtle here, I don't want my legs really close together because it's easy to knock me over, right? And also it's harder for me to like push back into my partner if my legs are like super close together. So I'm gonna have my legs like not so far apart that I feel like I'm doing the splits and I'm not mobile, because like if I start going forward here, I can already feel it in my groin. I'm gonna have them where it's comfortable, but still wide, all right? Just like the normal turtle, my elbows are gonna rest on my lap and I bring my head to my hands, just like we did from normal turtle, right? We didn't bring our hands to our head and then go down. We rested our elbows on our lap and then we brought our head to our hands. That way our elbows stay in the proper position where they're able to seal out the hooks and underhooks, but our hands are still able to protect our neck. All right? Just like in the normal turtle, elbows are sitting on my lap and I bring my head down, so now my hands can protect my neck. So if Mike goes behind me, right, I can use my hands to intercept any choking options here, right? And every time he tries to go in to choke my neck, my hands are there to catch. When he tries to dig underhooks, right, it's not super easy. Eventually he'll be able to get in there by sawing his hands in. But because my elbows are kind of pointed out, but not out like this where he can get an underhook, they're sitting just poking out, where now they're still strong, but he's not able to like push my elbow in, right? So stay away from there, buddy. I also, just like normal turtle, I'm just gonna move, or I'll just go to this side. I'll use a boxing shoulder as well. So even without my hands, like it's a lot harder now for him to dig my neck. Not impossible, but it'll at the very least slow him down. That if he can beat my neck, I can catch it with my hand, right? Because like I talked about before, ideally, I don't want to have to use my hands to protect my neck. I want to use my hands to upgrade my position. Liam, stop, please. Where I can escape and even reverse the position and get on top. At the very least, get out of the bad one. All right? So on that note, I don't want to be leaning back or being upright here. Because one of the main ways that my partner is going to attack this position is he's going to pull me backwards. Right? 1 second. I'm just fixing my... There. So, I mean, you don't even have to have a seatbelt. Like, just yeah, and now I'm off balanced, right? The other thing is, if I'm really upright, look at my elbows. I can't seal off that space where he's going to put hooks in. Sure, I can stop underhooks, but I can't stop the leg hooks, right? Whereas when I'm bent forwards, now when he tries to put those hooks inside, my elbows are in the way. My elbows can block, right? So we don't want to be leaning back or upright because he'll pull us backwards, and we also can't seal off that space. So now let's go into dealing with the underhooks. So just like in the normal turtle, when he gets an underhook in here, I want to keep my elbow as tight as I can. So even if he does start to win, it's a slow win. I'll collect the hand, pop it out, and seal it back out again, right? So if he just kind of like 50% here, right? I just constantly am sealing out here, right? Every time he starts to win, I'm keeping heavy pressure with my elbow. Maybe I'll stop him, maybe I won't, but it'll make his entry slow and less deep. What I don't want is him to go all the way up here like this, and now I'm having to try and deal with getting rid of this where it's really deep now. Now it's a lot harder. Like now I gotta like try and clamp it down and then peel it out. It's a lot more work. All right, so that's kind of like how we'll deal with the underhooks, just the same way as we did when we were facing the floor in turtles, pretty much the same. If he gets a wrist, so when he gets an underhook there, and he gets my wrist, same idea as before. I'm going to turn my elbow out, peel the hand, come back inside, right? Same idea as we did before. One more time. He gets the wrist here. Grab the hand. Sometimes I'll even be able to just pinky up, pinky down, but for extra insurance, we'll use the hand, seal it back out. All right, and then we're back into our position. All right. Chokes, we kind of already talked about it. I'm tucking my chin, right? If he starts to beat me, my hand will collect, right? And then we would go for our escapes from here. We wouldn't just chill here necessarily. Anytime he's going over my shoulder to try and choke me, that's good for attacking me, but bad for controlling me, right? So one of our main escapes from this seated turtle is me turning to my knees and going for a single leg, right? So to put it in context, what I'm trying to accomplish when I go to this seated turtle position is maybe I wasn't able to make space between our hips from normal turtle here, right? So I decided to go sit out just so I can turn back to my knees, and now I can get his single leg, right? So the action of me sitting out moved my hips away, and then when I turned back to my knees, I had space to grab his leg, right? So if he reaches over my shoulder for a choke, if I turn in the same direction, now I can attack a single leg takedown on him. Because he was not able to stop my rotation because his arm was over the top instead of underneath. To stop my rotation, he wants underhooks, right? So now if I try and turn in this direction, he can pull my shoulder and I can't turn, right? Also, if he has a thigh pry here, if I try and turn in this direction, he can straighten his arm into my thigh, stopping my hips from turning, right? So this is what he wants. Having over the top shoulder grip, try and stop my rotation when I do this.
Yeah, I can't. You're rolling with it.
Like he has no control of my rotation when he's reaching over the top, right? So, Liam. So we want to keep that in mind when we're defending from this position. All right, so let's just go over just turning to actually escape the position. So I can use this versus a seat belt, or I can use this versus one underhook. I can use this versus no underhooks. I can use this versus him throwing an arm over the top. All I'm trying to do is basically turn back to my knees where I've made space between our hips, right? For him to control me, he wants to be attached to my hips at all times, whether it's normal turtle, seated turtle. He does not want space between our hips. My goal on bottom is to separate my hips, all right? So when we're here, maybe he gets a seatbelt, and now from here, I can turn. Chances are I'm gonna wanna turn towards the choking side, because now that I've turned towards the choking side, his overarm is on the inside, which means there's no underhook on my arm that's on the inside, and now I can attack a single leg. If I was to turn to my, Liam, if I was to turn towards the underhook side, this side, when I turn to my knees, sure, the turn is possible. Just let me turn it. Sure, the turn is possible, but now look. His inside arm is under my inside arm, so I can't attack a single leg anymore on him. So it's not as ideal. Liam, don't be doing that, bud. We already talked about turning versus the choke arm that's over the top, so we won't go over that again. The other option is, what else did we say? Oh, the one underhook. So if he has just the one underhook and nothing else, I can turn towards the underhook. But again, it's not as ideal because as I turn towards the underhook, he still has that inside position on me, right? But now I'm going to have to try and seal him out. It likely would be a better option just to remove the grip first before turning. One scenario that will also voluntarily go towards the seated turtle is versus a body lock from the normal turtle. So when we're here and he has a body lock to try and control me, so you're going to go on your knees, like body lock with your arms.
Oh, my arms.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when we're here, I talked about defending the body lock before when he's putting forward pressure, right, towards my head and arms. Yeah, when he's putting forward pressure, we talked about this off balance, right, where I went on the top. But that's only one escape option, right? If he knows this, he may not give us forward pressure to not get countered, basically, right? So one option we have is to sit out. So when he's in a body lock here, I can sit out here, grab the top hand, I can just keep, I can keep.
I was going to try to hold on there, too.
I can keep pressure on his lock and keep doing like a sit out to put pressure on his hands and break the lock. So let's just do that one more time. It broke suddenly. I almost fell down. Yeah, I know. So we're here. We do a sit out here, and then I find the top hand here. And now I'm going to turn sideways. And I just keep moving my hips away here. And as you see, it broke the lock. And now from here, I seal them out, and I'm back to face. So I'm able to keep inching my hips away and weaken his top hand until the lock breaks. The other option we have from this seated position when we go here when he has a body lock is I can reach inside his leg. And now from here, as I scoot out to the side, it puts like a shoulder locking pressure on his arm where he wants to let go as well.
Yeah, I have to let go there.
So this is another time that we'll go this seated turtle position to put pressure on his body lock, because body locks are very controlling. So you're going to want as many options as you can have that are effective at breaking or countering that lock, right? So on that note, let's go over the hooks again. So the hooks are pretty much the same as when we're in normal turtle, right? If he's trying to throw in hooks with his legs, without arm position, just, right? My elbows are here. and I'm blocking out the hooks, right? Maybe you won't be sitting on your butt, maybe be on your knees, right? And then maybe he'll rotate to one side and he'll try and throw that hook in, right? But just like a boxer, if I reach really high to block, he might fake and then throw inside, right? So like I'm trying to move as little as possible, but enough to stop it, right? And the more forward I am, the less space he has to throw that hook in, right? My goal is to make him either not get the hooks in at all. Liam, just a little quieter, okay, buddy? And don't stab the ball because you're going to break it and then it won't be useful. My goal is to either stop him from getting the hooks or reverse him as he tries to get the hooks. So if he tries to put in a hook on this side, right? Like right now, you're not really committing to it too much, but like try and like actually like just throw it in here. And now I can turn and I can start attacking because when he's trying to throw the hooks in, he kind of like sits to his butt for a second, right? The other thing we can try and do is get him to commit so much that he throws the leg over my arm. But now I go all the way out to the back door as I lose my mic. Let's do that again. So let's try and do it slow. So as he throws that leg over top my arm, I'm going to catch it, but I want to be deep. I don't want to be shallow. If I'm shallow, he's going to be able to trap my arm. So as he's throwing it in, I put it in deep, and I scoot myself under more, and my head pops out the back door. And now I can show up his leg and do like the backside finishes like we did in the other videos previously, right? So again, one more time, we're here. He's trying to throw the hook in. Boom. And now we're here. If you like playing guard, another option, instead of going out the back door for a single leg, when he throws it over, right? You can just go into some form of leg entanglement, deep half guard, whatever, right? One option you have as well, which I resort to as well sometimes when they're really strong and I'm late, and he gets the leg over, is he'll go double underhooks here, scoot, and come back out. He'll probably scramble back to the top position, but since I got two underhooks underneath, I was able to escape the position. Yeah. Very similar to the stuff that we showed dealing with the hooks from normal turtle. And then the last thing we're going to deal with is the suckback. So the suckback is basically, if he's in seated turtle, is when I'm behind my partner and I get like a control of his shoulder, I can either grab his collarbone or his chin, and I'll move myself out to the side and I'll pull him to his back and I'll pin his shoulders with my head here. All right? From here, I may even switch off now to circling to the other side and going to side control to like solidify the pin after putting you down. So we're going to need to know how to counter this. So we're here. Obviously, don't let him get the underhook, but he gets the underhook here, controls my shoulder, and he's controlling my chin here. If I can keep my butt, just like over a second, if I can keep my butt behind my head, it's going to be hard for him to pull me backwards, right? So try and pull me backwards here. Like, not impossible, but it's harder.
Yeah, it's harder.
And he's going to want to make space between us. If you're like sitting right on me like you are right now, there's no space to pull me into. So you got to go off to the side here. Yeah, see? That's what you want. So the very beginning, when he goes for this, he's going to move to the side. I'm going to play at my hands and scoop my butt back again. Now he's going to have to move again to try and pull me back, right? And now he can do it. So my first line of defense is just don't let my head come past my butt like we talked about in the beginning. But if he does manage to pull me to my back, I'm either going to Superman bridge, just one sec. I'm either going to Superman bridge or I'm going to pummel my arm under his neck and bridge back to my knees. So it'll look like this. This will be the Superman bridge, the first one. Here. So I'm going to use my arm to get his head off my shoulder by Superman bridge. And then I'll turn to my knees And now back to turtle, where he's going to probably come on top again. Oh, that's yours. Where he's going to come back on top again. His chin and his head are pinning that shoulder with the underhook. When I bridge like a Superman, it takes his head off my shoulder long enough for me to turn to my knees. So let's just see it one more time. So we're here, he moves to the side, he pulls me backwards. Superman bridge, walk in a circle, and now I'm back into turtle. If his head is just too strong, I feel like I'm not going to be able to get it off my shoulder, I'll bring my arm under his head instead. So we're here, he moves to the side, pulls me back. So here, if his head's just too strong and I feel like I can't do it, I'm going to bring my head under now and turn to my knees. Basically taking away his inside position with his head. And the last thing, he goes to cover me in side control. So we're here. I'll let you do it first. So move to the side. And then you're going to pull me back just like before. Here, he's going to circle all the way over here. Yeah, to side control. All right. So let's go do it again. So the Superman bridge is not going to work nearly as good now because he's off to the side. So as he goes here, boom, he starts to circle this arm. It's going to go here. And I'm going to do a spin out. I mean, you're not going to fall.
I didn't mean to fall. I was off balance there. That's why. I didn't mean to fall there. Let's do it again.
It's all good. We're going to do a spin out where we underhook his hip and we start turning away as he circles.
Okay,
so we're here.
Boom.
He circles over. Boom. Here. And again, we're back into the turtle position. So I think that pretty much covers everything from the seated turtle that we need to know. So that's the last video of the turtle series. So we made it. So I think the next series is going to be on guard retention.
Good, that's what I need to practice anyway.
All right, cool, man.
That's a big thing. Good stuff, good stuff. We did it. The encyclopedia.
The encyclopedia.